All right, guys, today you're going to hear from some of my favorite people. The reason why I say that, it's because people that took a risk. It is 3 doctors. So Dr. Alexis Piarulli, Dr. Chris Harmon, and Dr. Abu Guerges. They all took our everything you should have learned in chiropractic school, but didn't. They took this while they were still in school. And as I've mentioned in the beginning of it, they are all now doctors. So they have since graduated and are all on to bigger and better things. And I thought, what better way to show you why you really should take everything you should have learned in chiro school but didn't, then let them tell you. Because I can tell you all I want. Obviously, I think it's fantastic, but I'd rather you hear it from them. 3 very well-respected students, now clinicians, who, if they say it's good, why not you? And so everything you should have learned in chiro school but didn't. The early bird actually has closed, but what I'm doing is for the ones that are listening to the podcast, if you hear this and you're like, man, I wish I would have, what you can do for the next 3 days till this coming Friday, so if you're hearing this on Wednesday, you have till Friday. You can email me, coaching@strivetomove.com, and I will extend the early bird because you are a listener of this podcast. So you might be asking, what are you going to learn, or who is it for? How would I know if I'm ready or right for everything you should have learned in chiropractic school but didn't? So if you're in school right now and you've heard from your mentors, from your teachers, from people in private practice, if you've heard that you shouldn't go down the rehab route, that there's no money to be made, that you can't make the business model work. If you've heard that and you want to pursue it, this is the course perfect for you. If you've heard or you've attended seminars and you've taken the DNS and the MPIs and the McKenzie's and the PRIs and all the named seminars, which I've all taken and I love. If you want to know how the heck you're supposed to take all of that and now incorporate it into your practice, this seminar is perfect for you. Now, if you've shadowed a bunch of doctors and you've seen the 5-minute practice model, the 15-minute quote sports practice model, the rehab chiro model that doesn't look like rehab, the sports chiropractic model that doesn't do sports. If you've shadowed practices like that and you're like, this is not what I want to do, which was my experience, if you don't identify with any of those practice styles and don't want to repeat those business models, EYSL is absolutely for you. And finally, if you want to learn and gain confidence that the rehab model, spending more time with patients and gain confidence that that is exactly what you should be doing and how to do it from people that have done it and are currently doing it, then the course is perfect for you. So we have a community of like-minded professionals. We are now in the US and Canada. It's a fantastic community. So like I said, if you're listening to the podcast, the early bird is closed, but I'm extending it for you specifically through this Friday. Email me, coaching@strivetomove.com, and you will still have access to the early bird special. I hope you enjoy this episode. What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Business School for the Rehab Chiropractor. Class is officially in session. My name is Justin Rabinowitz, and I am a rehab chiropractor on a mission to teach you, a fellow rehab chiropractor, the exact tools and systems I've used to build my own successful rehab chiropractic practice so you can do the same. I hope you enjoy, and please subscribe. All right, Dr. Alexis, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hey, my name is Dr. Alexis. I started with Justin and his course back when I was in 7th try, still a student at New York Chiropractic College. It's also called Northeast College of Health Sciences now. And I was in actually a different program before for business, and I found that Justin's stuff resonated a little bit better as far as being more into that rehab. And so that's kind of how I got interested in what he was doing.
Cool. And so what was the number one problem that you were facing before you took everything you should have learned in chiro school?
I definitely didn't know how to actually open my own practice and how to structure like the business side. Like, how do I do treatment plans? How do I make it sustainable so that it actually be a functioning business? And like how to even just explain that to a patient. Like clinically, I was getting good things, taking the extra courses, but from the business side, we don't get that in school. So I felt that was a huge lack for me.
Excellent. What false beliefs did you have, whether it was from, could you do it? Could you move somewhere else? Parents, whatever. A lot of people have false beliefs coming into it of what they thought before you started taking the course.
I definitely felt like prior to taking the course, it was going to be difficult to do cash for sure and not take insurance. That's definitely, everyone thought I was crazy thinking like I'm going to like come out and just like open a cash-based practice in a place where I didn't know anybody, moving to a new, like Florida. I'm from New Jersey and I just wanted to move to Florida and open a business. Yeah. So when you combine those two things, they're like, how are you going to even do that? But after taking the course, I was confident enough to be like, no, seeing other people do it, I'm like, I can do it too. Why not me?
So and again, people have a lot of reasons why they can't, but you kind of rolled over a few that number one, directly out of school. Number two, cash. Number three, which I think is really important, is you weren't from there. And so there's a lot of reasons why people very logically could be like, do you think this is a great idea? What was it, either in your own knowledge, or what were there some things when you took the course that you're like, all right, I do have more confidence with it now?
I think just like when you guys explained the systems of how to put somebody through that process, how to actually talk to a potential patient, how to walk them through like what you're offering, like that, I think gave me that confidence to like, no, if I can just follow the system that you guys use, and I've seen it work and time again, being able to be connected with all the members in the group. So I felt like if they can do it, then it's nothing like they're special. I can do it too.
Yeah, I love it. Excellent. And so, but to give the audience, and we have some time here to talk through it, one of the things I thought was so incredible that you did, you were in school, you were in Virginia, New Jersey, all these different places, but you specifically like went down to Florida, to Jacksonville for periods of time to go and start the networking before you ever opened, correct? Talk us through a little about what you did at that time. I think it'll be a really interesting for the audience So when Kaylee started with us, I told her your story, and she told me later that it like pissed her off that you were doing all of that and she wasn't. So piss some people off right now, Alexis. Go ahead.
Awesome. So I was still probably in technically 9th trimester at the time, and I took a week or two off from clinic down in Virginia and drove down myself to Florida. And I spent a week in Jacksonville, and I must have went to like 15, 20 gyms. I just Googled places. I set up some meetings. Some I just like walked in cold, just like checking out the vibe. If I like them, then I try and chat a little bit like, hey, I'm looking to move my business down here. Do you guys have any like potential spaces I could rent? Just a room. I need a room in a gym. And that's how I did it. And then by the end of the trip, it was like super frustrating because it was like 4 or 5 days in. And I really wasn't happy with what I found. But the last day or two, I ended up finding 3 to 4 gyms that I really, really liked. And met some great people. I even ran a 5K with one of the gyms. So that meant my first patient came from actually that race, which was awesome. And just like putting yourself out there and not being afraid to talk to people and just doing it, like take action, even though it's like, well, how do you do it? I don't know. You just go and you talk to people and you show up and that's all you can do.
Yeah. I think it's awesome because a lot of times people will come in and say, what can you teach me the tactics of marketing? And we obviously do teach that. But what you just said, a lot of times we find it's just someone has to give you permission. And in the course, it's like you just said, just go. Like at some point we have to just get started. And someone might say, well, that's not high level business advice. Well, sometimes that's the highest level business advice a lot of us need, is to just get going, which is exactly what you did. And I think the other thing I like what you said, we teach in the course, like people don't often respect the volume that they need to do in order to get it. So it wasn't like I went to 3 gyms and they said no. It's like I went to 20 and I met 3 that were good. Another just realization that they're going to teach you in school. Like, how do you know that? Well, we only know that because we've done it before. And now there's hundreds of other people that have done it as well. And so with that experience share, it becomes very, very valuable. Talk about a little bit about the community aspect of the group and some people that you've met along the way that are like you, think like you, and who you've connected with.
For sure. Definitely, just being surrounded like with people that have that similar mindset of being high level clinicians, but also learning how to just create a sustainable business so you're happy about what you're doing. You're not resenting your job because you have to see all these people and then, your care suffers. But now, seeing the people involved and like just having that similar mindset and then developing friendships. Like I have calls now every week with different people from the group and we just like check in with each other. We see how things are going. What do we need help with? Hey, like I'm running an idea by so-and-so, like, what do you think about this? And it's tremendous. Like where can you do that? because as you say, business is lonely, and it can definitely. I'm in a new place and a new business, and I don't know anybody, and so just having those connections, it just doesn't make it makes you feel like you're not alone, and you're supported the whole time, even though it's like your own business.
What would you say to somebody who might be in 7th, 8th, 6th, 9th try, and the reason for not doing the course is because they didn't graduate yet, they don't own a business yet?
If you wait until you graduate, you're going to be behind the 8 ball. So that's like step one, especially if you want to hit the ground running right away. I found that the longer you learn this stuff and the more it resonates, the more it like marinates in your brain, the better off you'll be. I wish I started even earlier, to be honest, because it would have made that the practice would have just made it this easier. Like right now, you can consider, now that I'm open, I'm actually doing the thing, like I'm still practicing what I was learning, right? But if the earlier you get going, the more efficient you'll be when you get out. I mean, like, who wouldn't want to make less mistakes and like make more money and be happier and be able to treat people in a better way, faster?
So you've had really good success early on, as good as anyone that we've seen. Did you ever think that was possible? The right answer is yes. It is possible. So I knew inherently. So this is what I'm getting at is, inherently, I always saw in you did think it was possible. What I always thought that my job was to show you how. Yeah.
I think that's like 100% true. Cause I was just like, I know I can do it, but just like, I don't know, like the details in between. Yeah. Like, I don't know how to actually like get it accomplished. And so, honestly, I could say without like your work and your course, there's no way I would have been able to do this like as confident as I am without the anxiety of like, yes, it's stressful, but I don't have this like impending doom, like, oh my God, what if I don't do this thing? And so, my first month open, I made 7K. I mean, who does that in a place where they don't live and they don't know anybody? And so I'm super excited. Yeah. No insurance and, all surfers almost, which is awesome. Cause that's my niche. And so I'm like super grateful. Yeah. And I wouldn't have been able to do it without your help.
We have a couple minutes, and we haven't even followed up with this. So I'm curious, when you first started, one of the things we talk about in the group from a marketing perspective is niche development. And I remember you asked me like pointedly about the surfer niche and all of that. And obviously, like I was like, I don't know because I'm not in Jacksonville. Like, but here's potentially what I would do to look at it. How did you go about saying or looking at it and deciding on if it was possible or not, or you're still not 100% sure?
For sure. That's a great question. I'm finding that the more background homework you do, just talking to people, finding out like all these Facebook groups, like getting involved in their events, I'm finding that Jacksonville has a huge surf group. They have veteran surf groups, they have women's surf groups, they have all these little niches. And so I knew a little bit about that before coming here. So I kind of had the idea that it has potential. But the biggest thing is you just have to talk to people and get connected as early as possible, especially if it's somewhere where you're moving to.
Right. Excellent. No, great point. All right. Last question. What would you say to someone who's on the fence, whether it's because of boards or they're in school or they have other responsibilities or they're focused on clinicals? What would you tell them?
Honestly, if they want to have your own practice, even if it's not right away, it's a no-brainer. You can do it, but it's just going to take longer and you make a lot more mistakes and it's going to be a lot more suffering, I think. And you're not going to have that sense of community surrounded with you. So if you just suck it up and just invest in the time, you invest a couple $100,000 in your education, but you decide that you don't want to invest any business education. It doesn't make sense that those two things don't add up. In order to be successful in business, you must learn business, which is not taught in school, as we all know. And so to think like that's even possible without any education, I think that's ignorant.
Yeah, I love it. Alexis, this was fantastic. You are someone who from early on, and I told you this, you are a rock star. You're going to be unbelievably successful in whatever you choose, whatever you want to do, you're going to do it. And so guys, if you're out there, just try to be like Alexis. I think I've said that before. We should get shirts that say that. Just be Alexis. You're doing amazing. We love having you part of our community, and you are a leader in your profession already. So congrats.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Have a good day. See ya. All right, Abu, go ahead and introduce yourself.
What's going on? Abinu Guerges, or Abu. I graduated from Northeast College of Health Sciences, formerly NYCC, in December, and I took everything you should have learned but didn't. in my last trimester of school.
Good. Excellent. And so tell me, what was your biggest problem that you were facing before you took everything you should have learned?
Yeah. So my biggest problem was I was feeling overwhelmed, and I've been told multiple times throughout school, going cash, going rehab would never work. And I always stuck to my guns where it's like, I think I can, I just got to find the right people. And I finally did. And
let me interrupt you. When you said multiple people, who was it? Professors, students, or family? Like, who told you?
All of the above. It started with professors, where it's like the best way to market is go out, do spine screenings. And then it came from students of like, our professors know best. And then it became family, where it's like, are you sure you want to do this? Like, and now I have the proof of concept from the community. And yeah.
Excellent. And so that sort of takes us into our next question. What false beliefs did you think were true before you started with the course and you found the people to show you how to do it?
The difference between being busy and productive. I'm the type of person that always likes to accomplish tasks, challenge myself. And when I first met you, I was extremely overwhelmed. Like, I had my own coaching business, but it was going nowhere. And I was waking up early, doing a bunch of things, but just never felt like I was gaining any traction. And
so what happened after that?
I still remember this. You pretty much said, who cares if you work hard? You don't have any discipline to stick to something. And that's when I knew I was going to work with you. Very few people make me that uncomfortable.
My wife says the same thing, yet we're still married.
Exactly. And it's like, those are the type of people I want to be around.
Yeah. It was interesting too. I remember you and I, the first conversation we had, you also were I remember looking at you and being like, I know who this guy is, because I feel like I was him, very caught up in the research and what the research said and things like that, which again, I always respect. But it was almost like a deflection into what actually had to happen to help a patient and grow a business. And so I'm not someone that says it doesn't matter and all that. Like, we're not curing cancer with subluxations, but at the same time, it's like, all right, like, how do we make this work for us? What has your thoughts been? And again, to a student listening or a new grad, of how your sort of thought processes might have changed?
The paradigm shift or mindset shift for me was how important core values were. Like, when we first met, I was like, it was a lot more me centered rather than what truly matters is helping the patient. And it's like establishing your core values and sticking to that of who am I doing this for?
Yeah, good. That's a great point. We talked about it yesterday on a call, in that I think it is very much one of like a thorn in the side of new grads, specifically motivated, like high level thinkers, which come to our group, is they are very much like you in that it's very theoretical right now. And that isn't a negative. It's just because we haven't done it. And so we have an idea of how we want it to go and how we should do rehab and what people should think and all of that. And oftentimes the problem is we want to spew that on patients. And so the conversation we actually had yesterday that I said is like, I don't want to take that away from a clinician like you that's so high level, but often what the problem is actually timing. And what I mean by that is, if you want to do this exercise and that exercise, or you want to have them do a journal and write down their goals and all of that, it doesn't all have to happen at the same time. It has to happen over time. And I think the main difference that I was communicating yesterday, which I think will resonate with you, is you actually can do whatever you want so long as the patient actually trusts you. So before that, you just got to do anything that it takes to get the patient to trust you. And then you can have them stand on their head, write with their opposite hand. You can have them do a pain journal. You can have them do deadlifts. It doesn't matter, because they're going to do what you say.
Mm-hmm.
So what are your thoughts now? You know, you talked about like either you started with cash practice wouldn't work, have to do spinal screenings, that you're doing a lot, waking up early, working very hard, but maybe not productive. Where has your thought process changed now?
My thought process now has changed of being patient with the result and impatient with the action and the habit. That was always my thing, where it's like, all right, I got one more 12-hour shift in me, then I'm gonna make it, then I'm gonna make it. And it's just like being honed in on the prize rather than the steps to it. That's helped me right now with my online coaching business. But my main takeaway is the community. I mean, I've shadowed 3 rehab chiros, and just knowing that there's other people like me doing it at a high level is all I need, where it's like, all right, I can do this too.
that to me, and I've always recognized that in my own learning, that's the thing, and we talked about it at the live event. You heard me say this. Oftentimes people will say, well, what am I going to get if I go to the live event? I know that I can't tell them. You're just going to get around about 50 people that you're going to be like, if they can do it, so can I. That's the answer to the question. You want me to tell you you're going to learn marketing and sales and you're going to have this and that and you get this and that. And so I play the game, but I'm very well aware that again, I always say that is the sprinkles and that is the cherry on top. That is not the ice cream.
Yeah. I mean, what is it that I texted you afterwards? I was like, you could just made it a Florida meet and greet. And I'd been more than happy. Yeah. I mean, but always, and in one of the mastermind groups that I'm in, it's an entrepreneur group that is not healthcare related. And I did it specifically because I wanted to get out of that. And I don't love the group, to be honest with you. It's not amazing. Like I'm oftentimes frustrated, but the thing that brings me back every time is that I go to these in-person meetings and for 1 hour, they have a experience share of multi-million-dollar entrepreneur business owners. And for that hour, every time I get like one line or two lines, I'm like, I'm staying because of that, right? And you've heard me teach some of it. The one that I brought back to you guys before was there was a lady with a $6 million IT firm. And the takeaway was, you have a process, don't change your process. You have a process, don't change your process. And if she's saying it there, then that's like, we talked about it, but it just reinforced that for me. And so anytime you can hear other people's stories who feel like you, who are scared like you, who have been told by their parents not to do it just like you, the value of that, the value of the community, like we would have and like we have in the Everything You Should Have Learned course and the mentorship, just to get in a world of people that are positive, that have done it before, that struggle like you. I think it's fantastic. So go back to EYSL specifically, Everything You Should Have Learned in Chiro school. What was your number one takeaway? Sales is the most empathetic thing you can do. Like again, going down like the rabbit hole of like the nuance, the pain science research, biomechanics, whatever. Always thought like the sales side is sleazy. I hear sales, I think before and after I praise, but in reality is just helping them make the decision that's right for them. And I've seen it in my own coaching business where it's like, I'm not the guy for you. And I've turned people away.
Yeah. Beautiful. I love it.
Yeah.
And so last question, what would you say to someone who's on the fence about either investing or spending the time? I'm getting people now who are like, I have boards coming up and I don't know if I can take the time and I got to focus on school. What would you say to someone who's on the fence?
If your reason is you don't have the time, shoot me a DM. I'll be more than happy to, because time was the first thing I talked to you about. It's like, I don't have time to do anything. And then we found time for me to get more stuff done and take the course. I did it my 10th try. I had Par 4 boards, full-time in clinic, full-time work, starting up my online business, and I still took this course. So you definitely have the time.
Yeah.
It's just, do you value it enough?
Right. Yeah. And I guess the last thing that I would say, just to kind of bring it back full circle, is recognize for the students out there, you probably gone to undergrad to study something with the body or health sciences. Then you've gone to Chiro school. You might be getting to the end of that. And now it's 7-8 years of clinical side, and you still probably don't feel super confident about treating patients. And you've had 8 years of it. And so, but then on the other end, we're going to wait until we open our business to learn business. No wonder you don't like it and you're scared of it and you're not a good business person. You just gave yourself one day to actually learn how to run a business. Not great.
Yeah. And that was me when I was kind of hesitant to sign up on the course. I was like, I don't know, and then I forgot. It shifted my mindset where I was like, all right, I've mindlessly dropped, I don't know how much money on extra continuing eds and weekend seminars, and not including school tuition, which is in the hundreds of thousands. But I was afraid of the couple, whatever, how much your course is, to actually learn how to make that money back.
Yeah. No, I think it's fantastic. And so for you guys out there, obviously this is Abu giving his side of the story, and Abu is a boxer. So if you disagree with him, he might fight you, but
I'm a nice guy. Take
his advice.
I'm a nice guy.
He smiles until he has to fight, but no, I'm just kidding. Abu, we appreciate you. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me. Right on.
All right, Dr. Chris, go ahead and introduce yourself.
I'm Chris Harmon. I actually took this course 10th term in chiropractic school. I actually graduated this last December, and now I'm actually working at a golf fitness facility, trying to implement a lot of stuff that I learned, and kind of helping the owner kind of steer his course, making it more profitable for him.
Excellent. And you, Chris, you're a little different than a lot of Chiro students in that you had a career before in fitness, a second career for you. So you had your own business. So you have unique perspective in that as well. So with that being said, why did you take the course originally if you already had your business before?
I think the biggest thing is how you market yourself, because a trainer and a chiro is a lot different. I mean, I had the principles in terms of, interprofessional like relations and how to deal with clients, but how you market yourself to actually optimize your biggest value and how you can provide to your patients and be confident in knowing that you're doing the correct things.
Got it. And so going into the course, what was the biggest problem you were having, or what essentially problem were you trying to solve?
I think the biggest thing was coming from like a strength and conditioning background, is that I couldn't see myself in a high volume clinic, adjusting 50 people a day. And there's nothing wrong with that, but just in terms of, I just wanted to be able to practice the way I want and actually feel good about it and sleep at night and, all that stuff. So
I got it. Cool, man. And so then tell me, what false beliefs did you have? Is it like people said it couldn't be done, or you didn't know if you could make it work, or will I be able to do it? What false beliefs did you have before taking the course?
Probably the biggest thing was being just that the cash practices weren't profitable, and things like that. Probably the biggest thing, and being able to have to see high volume in order to actually make money as a chiro, and that's probably the biggest thing.
And where did you get that from? Was it professors, family, classmates? Who talked to you about
that? I would probably say the biggest thing would be probably professors. I would probably say at school, they kind of put the whole idea of having a high volume practice, and then also just being out in the community as well. Just seeing how other practices are run and not really getting a good perspective on terms of the other side of things.
Nice. And so from the course, or just in general, what did you learn? What do you think now?
I think honestly, the biggest thing that I learned, even from the first meeting that we had, was beliefs and mindset was probably the biggest thing I think I took out from it, and knowing and being confident and being able to charge the prices that I want, and feeling good about it, and making the practice fit your lifestyle.
Yeah. So talk about that a little more, because, obviously on my Instagram, I talk a lot about working hard and all of that, but you just mentioned something that I actually preach even more, is making the practice work to fit your lifestyle. What does that mean to you?
So I actually had my first kid, third term in chiro school. So, I'm a little bit older. So, I kind of had I think I messaged you where this course is almost like a toll road to success. Whereas, I didn't have time to make mistakes. I kind of had to start making money as soon as I graduate. So with having two kids now, I have to fit my practice into my lifestyle so that I'm at home with the kids, but still making money and paying bills. So this kind of helps me kind of hone things in and, provide a framework for how I'm going to practice in the future.
And I think, what's interesting is a lot of people, they don't understand that if you want to work less and make more, you have to charge more. But in order to charge more, you have to have a sales process to do it. And that's the one skill that they don't recognize. So they just end up in a volume or low charging thing. And in order to make money, they just work all the time. Correct?
Exactly. I think that's the biggest thing is, as rehab chiros, we kind of provide a different skill set, and I think we should be, making money accordingly. I think we provide a different expertise to the whole process.
I love it. So, what would you say to someone who, has a family, has boards, has things to do, is focused on school, all these different things that they have an objection to taking the course and learning business, what would you say to them?
I would probably say the biggest thing is you're spending, 200, 225, 250, on your education. And this is just, I think the return on investment is huge. I'm still kind of figuring that out with Chiro, the education. So with the business course and the training, I think it's just, I would do it again. And I think it helps to provide a little bit of clear waters in murky waters. Yeah. It's probably the biggest thing.
Love it, man. Cool. Anything else? Any last tidbits? Anything that you want to hone in on for the audience out there?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is it kind of creates a little network and a community within the rehab space. I think for the better, I think the community itself is getting bigger and bigger, whereas there's more options when you're coming out of school. You don't have to be to one thing. You don't have to go to the high volume clinic. You can be a rehab chiro. It kind of gives you more options and being able to practice it the way that you want and not being forced to go into a clinic that you're not wanting to go just because of the money.
Yep. Got it, man. Well, this was fantastic, Chris. You're a rock star. I can't wait to see what you do in the profession. We appreciate you being on, and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks.
Awesome. Thanks, Justin. Have a great day.
Bye-bye. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. And if you found this content valuable, here are 4 ways I can help you for free. 1, grab a copy of my free guide, the Rehab Chiropractor's Checklist. You can get that at go.drjustinrabinowitz.com/guide. That's go.drjustinrabinowitz.com/guide. 2, go ahead and give me a follow on Instagram at Justin Rabinowitz, where I post business content. 3, subscribe to my weekly newsletter by sending me an email at coaching@strivetomove.com. And 4, leave us a 5-star review so we can gain access to more influential people and bring those lessons back to you.